Boom! Hey, what's up, everyone? TigerFitness Podcast, episode 1, alongside editorial director
Steve Shaw.
And we have an extra special guest. A man that I have known since, 2001?
2000.
Oh man, we're getting old.
And a man I've known since 7 minutes ago.
A co-founder of
17.
BPI Sports, maker of 1MR Vortex and other epic products, Way HD, ISO HD. James Grage, what's up, brother?
What's up, dude?
Welcome.
Thank
to
you,
the
man.
hood. Welcome to the podcast,
Appreciate
man.
it.
So, you enjoying Ohio?
Yeah, man. I actually first time in Cincinnati. Never been here before. So.
And what are your thoughts?
On Cincinnati, it's a lot hotter than I thought it was. I thought I was gonna catch a break from the heat from Florida coming here, and it's hot.
So Florida, I mean, there's a lot of hot women. Like, where would you rate our women in Ohio? Like the Midwest women, are they bigger? Is bigger better? Are you a chubby chaser?
I don't know.
Are you a chubby chaser?
Is this like a sliding scale? Is it like, hot for Ohio? Is that what it is?
No. This has to be. It's like a 1 through 10 is a 1 through 10.
No. I think it's got to be a sliding scale.
So basically, the women in Ohio, we need to set a benchmark for hot. So what a 10 is. Then we need a 1. Then we need to find an in between.
Florida really it truly is probably on an entirely different level, honestly. So,
California, now you lived in California for a bit.
Lived in California, grew up in California. So, there's some competition there, different kind of women. You go to Florida, you get a lot of, obviously, you get all the women from South America, so from Colombia and Venezuela and Peru. And
That sounds like a buffet of love right there.
yeah, you get...
So do they taste different?
Wow, man.
And then that
I'm trying to think of, how honest do I want to be here? Is my wife tuning into this? I don't know, Marc. I don't know.
I gotta say, when I was in South Carolina, I love you, South Carolina, but I was amazed at how big the Southern people were. Because I thought the Northerners...
So are you a chubby chaser?
It depends on how much money they have. I'm getting older, and I have needs, you know what I'm saying?
Yes!
So a little bit of the sugar
Sliding
mama.
scale, yeah. Sugar
Mama, so that's a factor.
So like Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah, I mean, if they have cash, I'll chase the chubby.
Well, he was, Anna Nicole Smith. You're looking for the early payout there. If you're on the wheel.
So have you ever actually stepped down your game for money or for something? Like, have you ever gone with like a 5 just to get something in return?
No, the only time I had a sugar mama, she was a legit 10.
And she was written. Why are
yeah,
you
but
here?
look. If you got a woman with a lot of money who's a legit 10, and she's never had children, she's 47. You add up all that calculus, and she's crazy.
She was a 10.
She was crazy.
The crazy hot.
She was. Yeah.
So she was 47 years old, and she was a 10.
Yeah, she was a legit 10.
Was she in fitness?
Fit these nuts.
Fitting these nuts.
I see what kind of podcast this is. I'm figuring it out real quick.
No. Well, she kind of, worked out. I mean, she used to go to the gym at 3 a.m. She used to say, you get a text I'm at the gym at 3 a.m. I just did 3,000 crunches. Like, what the?
So she talks exactly like Ronnie Coleman, too.
Yeah, like Ronnie Coleman, yeah. That was her downfall.
Going back to the sliding scale, you've been in the fitness industry a long time.
Yeah.
I think that also skews your opinion. The first time you show up to an Olympia or Arnold Expo and you see all these fitness women, it's like your head spins around. You think every woman you see is the hottest woman you've ever seen in your life. After, this many years, you become kind of picky after a while. You start to nitpick after a while. You can, get down to, well, I don't really like her toes. Oh, yeah,
No,
yeah, but look
She
at her
does
knees.
not do enough squats.
Yeah.
Her butt has a little dimple right there.
Yeah.
That's not even...
I know exactly what you're saying. The longer I'm in the industry, the more I'm like, she doesn't even lift. No, I mean...
Yeah, no, it's kind of ridiculous after a while.
It truly is, and that just shows you it's all relativity. Like, people come to the Arnold, we've been there, we look around, it's normal, right? As someone from the outside, well, look at all these girls. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
I think I've been to the Arnold, I'm going on 17 in a row.
Yeah? Yeah, I've been to every single one. I missed one Olympia after I sold Salvation. That was it. But other than that, I've been to every single one, and I hate it more and more every year. It wears on me.
It's kind of crazy. I've kind of come full circle with it. I went through a period where it started to wear on me because it felt like Groundhog Day. It kind of seemed like the same thing over and over every year. But I've gotten to a point where I appreciate it again. I think, maybe a lot of it is just I've kind of feel reinvigorated with maybe my own fitness goals, and also seeing the industry change a lot. is reinvigorating me because it doesn't look the same that it did 5 years ago. It's starting to change and look a little bit different, a different crowd. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. So speaking of things maturing, man, so you co-founder of BPI, and you have a great story. Actually, just give you a little history. James and myself worked together at Weider. So really crazy stories, like the one time he jumped off on the freeway and peed in a pool. They were having construction on the freeway, right?
Okay.
And I'm sitting in the car with Richard Hart, and he's like, I gotta pee. You could tell he had to pee. You could tell when a man has
No,
to
I
pee.
had to pee for a while.
And we were stuck in traffic, stopped. And so he's like, I gotta go. Jumps out the car, I'm driving, and Richard's like, just leave his ass. Because right then, the traffic starts moving. And you see him running behind.
We were driving from Atlanta to Charlotte, North Carolina, and we were stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and I had to pee for about an hour already. There was nowhere to get off the road, and as we're driving along, there was a construction site. They were expanding the freeway, and there was a porta-potty right in the middle of the freeway. So I just jumped out, went in the porta-potty, and I came out, and that's when traffic started moving, and this asshole here starts driving off. So yeah, I do kind of chase after him a little bit.
In my defense, Richard was encouraging me.
No
And the thing is, he could tell you back in the day, I used to be known for my copious amounts of broccoli I'd eat. So that whole way from Atlanta to Charlotte, I was just lighting him up.
Oh
Just
yeah,
Hot box,
completely.
kids.
Oh
Hot
yeah, he
box.
thought it was pretty funny because I was sitting in the back seat, so he had control of the power windows, so I couldn't even roll down the window. So it got to the point where honestly, I opened the door while driving down the road just to get some air.
So that's your
Good time.
BPI story. Right there.
Yeah, I mean, so
From BPI to P.
Yeah.
Real quick.
so you were at Weider for a little bit after I left, and then you helped start BPI. Now, how's that ride been? I mean,
It's been crazy, you know. I mean, I guess it starts like a lot of things started. Just started as an idea. You know, we were just trying to pay the bills, keep the lights on, and it just, like all things, when you work hard and you keep your nose to the grindstone, it grew, and it grew beyond our expectations. You know, it's been a rocket ship ever since, and so we just continue to try to push ourselves, stretch ourselves, grow the company, you know, do new cool things, and it's been really, you know, it's been a blast. But like anything, it's a lot of hard work. You know how it is building a business, and but you know, it's challenging and it's exciting and definitely keeps me engaged. I get bored easily, and I've never been bored in the past 7 years.
well, 1MR was one of the pre-workouts that really set out that whole high-impact pre-workout category. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of revolutionized the industry.
Yeah,
There's
well,
that
look-
and one other product that really kind of dominated at that point in time.
Yeah, I mean, there's different types of pre-workouts, right? You've got what at the time I called like a kitchen sink formula. You know, it's like that all-in-one pre-workout. It had muscle-building ingredients and energy ingredients, and we just said, hey, you know what? A lot of us just take a pre-workout just for energy, just for focus, and so that's what we created, was something that was just high-intensity energy and focus, and that's where that whole ultra-concentrated concept came from, which, you know, really ended up getting kind of bashed through time because a lot of people with their own marketing, you know, kind of propaganda saying, you know, ultra concentrated is crap. But it's not when you're not adding in, you know, amino acids or creatine or all these different things, and you're just focusing on energy and focus. You can get a really small scoop of something that just knocks you on your ass. So that's what 1MR was, and that's what it still is to this day.
I'll tell you what, we took Vortex for that little training session we had, man. That was still hits me. I mean, I remember taking that a little while ago, and yeah, it's a good. I mean, we got it right here. It's just delicious too.
Yeah, no, the flavoring's awesome, but you know, look, there's stim junkies out there that like, you know, really hardcore. They want stronger and stronger and stronger. And anytime I see someone say that 1MR Vortex isn't strong enough, I say that your adrenal system is tapped out and you need to take a break from stims for a while because this stuff is strong. I mean, one scoop is strong. And when I hear these stories of people taking 3 scoops, I'm like, man, time for you to take a break.
Yeah, the thing is, people are like, I get emails about 1MR, just multiple. You can name the pre-workout, I get it. Like, I'm not feeling this. The pre-workout's bad. I'm like, no, your adrenals gave up.
Yeah.
Your adrenals were like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. Your adrenals, after a while, you just build up tolerance. That's all it is. You take a week off, the caffeine withdrawal goes away in about 4 days.
Well, look, we're an energy-driven society, right? Everything that we do is, you know, it's like go, 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 go. You know, we're trying to cram more shit into our day. And, you know, so people, look, it used to be like a soda was an energy drink, the amount of caffeine and sugar that was in there.
Lift, hit it.
And got guests joining us here.
Hey, it's a gym, man.
But, you know, so everybody likes energy, and so everyone's on energy products all the time, but you got to give yourself a break, and that's why I don't use a pre-workout all the time. Me, personally, I reserve it for those days where I'm dragging ass and I just need something to kick my ass, get me into the gym. And but I don't take it every day just for that reason, because it'll wear you out.
Likewise, I reserve my pre-workout use to every 4 hours.
Yeah. Hey, I got pre-workouts in my BCA.
This guy used to be a stimulant junkie. I mean, this guy
used
oh
to be.
Man, no, he used to put it down.
Used to be like 2 hours ago and then you took another day.
Pretty much. I mean, so you actually have a great story where you came from. You literally had to rebuild your body. I actually saw him compete. Was that the Southern States?
That was the Southern States
What
in
year?
Florida.
2000.
The last year that I competed was, no, that was 2005. That was the last time I competed.
Yep.
That was, feels like a different lifetime ago. Definitely a different physique ago. I was about, off season, even lean with abs, I was about 40 pounds bigger than I am now. And
You compete as a middleweight, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I dropped down to middleweight. Like, I would just get by just squeak by at weigh-in. I was really a light heavy that would squeeze into the middleweight class. But yeah, that was, I went through about 2 years of competing, 2004, 2005, and that was after my car accident. That was only because I was just tired of telling myself that was the one thing that I couldn't do. It's like I'd recovered after my car accident. I'd started to build a little bit of muscle, but I kind of said, hey, that's the one thing I can't do. I can't, train for a competition. And one day I just said, fuck it. I'm tired of telling myself I can't do it. And so I just, buckled down and did it. And so I only did 2 shows. I did one that was called the Southeastern down there. I won my class, won the overall, and then did the Southern stage, which for the South, for the East Coast.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah, it's a big show. Big show. A lot of the guys that won that show, you end up turning pro, going to nationals, and but that was it for me. It wasn't this goal of pursuing a bodybuilding career. It was just to prove to myself that I could do it, and goal accomplished, and then moved on to the next thing.
That's good, man. So So you had this car wreck. When was that, and what was your recovery like? What did you injure? Does your penis still work? Things like that.
Can I just touch your vein real quick?
Yeah,
it gets me excited. I can't.
Mark and I had a good shoulder workout earlier.
Yeah, that's still wearing on us.
Some good post-workout carbs too. Potato.
Yeah.
A little rub down. Mark was rubbing me down.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta get all the veins going.
Rub
You know
down.
what I'm saying?
I miss all the good stuff. It's not fair.
Someone has to hold the camera.
So car accident, yeah, that was a long time ago, but it was 1999. I was living in Northern California. I was driving over to the Bay Area for a job. It was early in the morning, and basically a pheasant flew into my windshield. I swerved. I hit a truck head on. I was doing about 70 miles an hour, 75. He was doing about 60. Head-on collision, no braking, no slowing down, and literally my car, just burst into, pieces. The front end flew off one way, the engine flew down the street. I was ejected 70 feet, and just broke me into a million pieces.
So you were a lifter at that.
Yeah, I was training. I was so at the time I was about 195, and the doctor said that was one of the things that really helped me.
So because I got an accident that happened to me when I was a lifter, and it really hit home. The importance of just being strong, and I mean because that contributed to saving your life.
Absolutely.
It 100% did. I mean, even the trauma surgeon said it, that just, having the muscle mass really, it helped because it was nasty. I mean, it was, like I said, I crushed both my femurs, I broke my hip, I broke my arms. I mean, I was in ICU for about 4 weeks, and then several weeks in the hospital after that. Then they wanted to transfer me to a convalescent hospital, and I said, you know what? I said, I don't have a whole lot of things going for me at this point. The one thing I have is, my attitude, and I said, if you put me in a convalescent hospital, you're going to crush me. He said, well, you can't take care of yourself. You can't get out of bed. You can't do anything for yourself. He's like, you got to prove to me that you're capable. So kind of had to challenge myself. I had a good 2 weeks before they were going to discharge me from the hospital to prove to him that I could be mobile. And so really just kind of had to buckle down and learn how to walk again. I used a walker that had these special arm braces because I had casts on both arms, so I couldn't grab a walker. So, I mean, I literally started from ground zero. Not ground zero, it felt like...
Negative. I mean,
yeah.
You were literally behind.
So did we talk about this all the time, like how lifting builds, not just physical strength, but mental strength.
Yeah.
I mean, that had to be the mental strength you had after going through that had to be a factor.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, everyone wants to know when it comes to motivation, what are some of those secrets? And, it's like, I don't know what to tell people other than, you just got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you just got to buckle down and do it. It was tough for me, I'm not going to lie. I came out of the hospital. they had me on a constant IV drip of morphine, and so I just kind of withered away. I didn't eat. I couldn't eat with all the drugs they had me on. So I went from 190 pounds, withered all the way down to 139.
Wow.
Yeah, I came out of the hospital. I was literally skin and bones. It's like, the skin would just hang off my body. And so I just started going into the gym. I was still on a walker when I went back into the gym. The physical therapist, the doctor said, well, you can't do this. You won't be able to do that. You won't be able to do this again.
That's what they always say, right?
It's like that's the safe answer for them. They're always going to give you the most grim prognosis. And I just kind of defied it all. I just said, fuck that. That's not good enough for me. And to be honest with you, it's like, my car was my last possession at the time. I was broke. I didn't have a job. That's why I was driving to the Bay Area, was for a job interview that I desperately needed, because I was literally down to like my last $5, which went into my gas tank. So I had no job. I had no car. I just didn't have anything going for me. And the one thing that I really felt at the time that I still had was, my fitness. Like, I felt good about that. It was kind of part of my identity at the time. It was like, hey, that's that guy that's in shape. And that was taken from me. And so I was like, you know what? I know how to do it. I know that I can do this. And so I was just determined to do it. But I couldn't think about all the steps in between where I was at and where I wanted to be, because it seemed so far away. And I think that's the way it is for most people when they're trying to envision a goal for themselves, is they just can't imagine all those steps in between, and they get discouraged. And so my advice would be is, don't think about all those steps. It's just like, focus on one step at a time. It's just like you put your head down and you just go to work, and just one foot in front of the other. And pretty soon you can look back and say, wow, look how far I've come. But yeah, it was discouraging at first. I'm not going to lie.
Well, it's funny. When we were at Weider, we used to always say the terms "make shit happen." That was what we always talk about, and I think that's another another arm of that. You made shit happen. You had to do it, or else you literally had to choose between withering away to nothing and basically living as a vegetable, so to speak, or moving on.
It sounds a little bit cliche, but when people ask me what really motivated me, and it was kind of like this light switch turned on for me one day in the hospital, and I remember it really clearly, like it was yesterday. I couldn't sleep ever. It's just like, I don't know if it was all the drugs, because I'd sleep all day or what, but I was literally awake all night, and I watched the sunrise come up in the morning, and it was almost like I had this weird epiphany, and it was that I can write my own story, and it's like, if someone was narrating that story, how would you want them to describe you as a person?
Yeah.
Do you want to be that person where, it's like, well, and here's James feeling sorry for himself, and it's, the whole world against them, and, odds are stacked, and he crumbles, it's like, no, fuck this. I'm like, I'm going to make this epic. I'm going to make this the best, like, Rocky comeback story ever. And that's what I told myself, and it was weird, but it kind of helped me. It charged me up, and I'm like, I'm going to somehow turn this into, part of my story. And it's weird. That is part of my story now. It's like, if I can do it, if I can literally build myself back up, build a business for myself, create a whole life for myself from nothing. And I came from nothing. I never had anything to begin with.
Yeah.
Like everything I had, I scratched together, came from a pretty, pretty poor growing up. I dropped out of high school. And it wasn't because, I was doing drugs or doing anything crazy. It was just, I was kind of bored. I was one of those kids that just, I needed to always be moving, doing something. It just got to the point where high school was boring me. So took a high school proficiency test, and I moved out of the house when I barely turned 17, and, just kind of set out into the world, and which, was kind of tough, because I saw my friends graduate and then go to college, and they had this like really clear defined path for themselves, whereas I didn't. And so it was like, wow, what do I do with myself now? And, I kind of fell into the fitness thing. I'm like, hey, this is an industry that I love. I was passionate about it, and I enjoyed it. And so everything that I've done is just kind of one thing is stacked on top of the other. Being at Weider with the magazines, with Muscle and Fitness, was just part of that path. And
what a hell of a place to start, man. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we had a good time back then.
We really did. I don't think people understand, like, we had magazines at the time, and we dominated. Our team was that dominant at the time. We built literally an empire. AMI took over, things got a little weird. Well, it got a lot weird. Anytime you have someone named Pecker running your organization, things are going to get really weird.
Yeah, but we had a lot of fun. It was kind of an epic time. Times have changed, obviously, with social media. Magazines aren't what they were, but back then, the magazines, they were, the king of the heap. It was like we were at the top. And so, yeah, we had a great time. And, I've done a lot of different things in the industry, worked for other companies, you know, but yeah, so ultimately it just kind of got to that point where I'm like, it's time for me, you know, to do something. There's that next step, and I've always enjoyed fitness, and so for me, being able to start a supplement company was just that one way to be able to help people pursue their fitness goals.
Now, before we go any further, we are here in Terry Bryant's Tiger Fitness Center, and you guys, if you hear any noise on this podcast, about 10 feet that way, they're packing orders. So.
But here's the thing, man. We could have done this in a controlled setting, but
Right.
we're real. This is us.
Brett.
You can't get much better than a gym.
Brett. Come here, Brett.
Come here, man. We got a
We're
special
gonna get you
guest.
on a podcast.
Random dude training.
I actually trained. This is Brett. I actually trained him. He's a power lifter. He's training for his first meet.
Powerlifter is basically a bodybuilder who
Yeah.
can't watch what the fuck they eat.
Yeah, come here. We got pimp
And who
this
doesn't
shirt
like
right
doing
here.
over 3 reps.
This is Brett. Look at these sexy shirts available at TigerFitness.com.
Well, you can see it.
Yeah. So this is
Definitely.
Brett. You just got pulled in on the first Tiger Fitness podcast.
Steve's really good at pulling in, terrible at pulling out.
Yeah, well.
So, Matt, so you train here. When'd you start training here?
Probably back in March when you guys moved here.
Wow, so what do you think?
Oh, I love this. I love the atmosphere. I love the people that come here. It's just great.
You
Getting
gotta
to meet
come back
everybody.
tonight. We got a big get together going on.
I heard, yeah.
Gonna have
They're
some
here.
Vortex on tap. It's gonna be a good time.
By the way, I'm James.
This is James.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
So yeah, man, just thought we'd say hi.
Yeah,
Pull you in, show them just how real. This is an actual gym, folks.
this is.
All right, thanks, bro.
Greatest
That's
in the
awesome.
Midwest.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, guys.
So we worked together for a couple years, man. Like I want to think back. Like I always think of the urination story. That's what comes to mind. Like I'm just trying to think. Like what's a memorable moment you have other than the urinate? I mean, the farts, the urination. It all has to do with some kind of a
Yeah,
body
Do you have any
excrement.
midget hooker stories?
That's Richard. Richard had a lot
Yeah,
of.
there was a lot of midget stories. We actually
A lot of midgets.
yeah, we actually one time hired a midget to is a friend of ours who like was actually
Yes.
afraid
I
of
didn't
midgets.
think he'd actually have a midget story.
Is that like politically incorrect?
No, they're midgets,
people.
little people. I don't know what.
Well, I think they like to be
Vertically
called
challenged.
little people. But anyway, so we hired
I
a
think
little
they like
person.
to-
We love you.
Yeah.
We love you all.
So actually, it was pretty fun.
Follow
So
him around
we
and-
had this guy dressed like him, and he always wore like this backpack, and he kind of walked, like hunched forward.
Yeah,
so,
very hunched.
Yeah, so we had this, guy like mirror him. Whatever he did, this guy did. And I just couldn't help it. We were at the Olympia, and we were at breakfast, and everybody in the industry was in there having these really serious meetings. And I was like, "Come on, Richard!" I'm like, "Let's go marching through the restaurant, like high knee it, like the Seven Dwarfs." And so we did. We like high kneed it through there, and this little guy like marched behind us, and I was just like, it was ear to ear grin. I mean, it was just like a shit eating grin. I couldn't help it. It was too funny.
There were so many we actually, Laya, this is actually before you came on board, Laya and myself, we had that company in Utah, Mormons. So for her birthday, which happened to be on the Arnold day, we hired a male stripper in the expo to go in and give her a dance right there.
Nice.
It was an awesome experience. Like everybody says you got to be professional. We completely bucked that trend.
Yeah,
You've actually matured, man. You're actually matured. You're living a big boy life. You got.
I'm probably more reserved, I guess. I always feel obligated to do the right thing and say the right thing. But yeah, I guess my favorite Marc Lobliner story was the fact that this guy would literally eat plates of broccoli. We would go to dinner. He would get his chicken breast and a side plate of broccoli. And then one day the broccoli disappeared, and I said, "What happened?" He's like, "Well, I went to the doctor, and he literally told me to quit eating broccoli."
It was tearing up my stomach.
It was tearing him up. He was like, literally like raw on the inside, not the rear side.
Oh man, my ass was friggin' chafed as hell. I gotta tell you, man, because I stayed lean year round. Now, speaking of which, you bodybuilder, you did your thing. Have you ever bulked? Were you ever a guy who just got big? It's like, hey, I'm gonna get big. Were you ever one of those guys? You tried it?
Kind of. So when I was bodybuilding, I tried to put on more size, but I never wanted to really jump up in weight class. So I never tried to get too big. But the biggest I got was about a little over 220. I was 222. I'm probably about 180 now.
How'd you feel at that weight?
Sluggish, to be honest with you. I didn't care. I still had abs, so I wasn't like true bulk. I still had definition. Still, you could see six pack, but Yeah, I felt sluggish. I didn't like it, but I was strong as an ox. That I liked. I mean, I don't train that way anymore, but there's something that just feels great about being strong. You know, you walk into the gym and you kind of have like that chip on your shoulder, a little bit of attitude. Like, I know that either I'm at least as strong as anybody in here, and if not, I'll take off my shirt and I'm going to look better than you. So, you know, young and cocky and had a lot of attitude. But yeah, no, I didn't miss it. And honestly, when you're wearing clothes, you just look boxy. Or at least I felt boxy. So I like the weight I'm at now. I'm happier here. You know, it's stayed pretty conditioned most of the year. And it's just a different lifestyle. This is maintainable. Like, instead of bulking and cutting, which got really tiresome to me.
It's not good for you either.
It's not good for you. So instead, you know, this is pretty much like consistent year round. I stay pretty lean, and you know, I still feel like I still get enough calories where I can still, you know, build muscle, but it's a slower process. You just have to be more patient. It's incremental. Like, I feel like a bulking process is just like wanting progress fast. It's like, you know, so I'm going to eat as many calories, even if they're dirty calories, and I'm going to gain as much weight. But I felt by the time I cut it all back down to a certain point, I barely made any progress anyway. So I just realized it's better.
After a number of years, after you've been doing this for 10, 15 years, you're not gaining a lot of muscle mass each year. You're gaining
I'm pretty
ounces.
much topped out.
You're
I'm
gaining
convinced of that
ounces, so it just doesn't make sense to do them.
Yeah, and you know, for me, I don't want to get any bigger at this point, and I'm probably not going to get any bigger than I am now, no matter what I do. And if I do get bigger, then it's just going to be kind of like excess body weight, body fat that I don't want.
How old are you now?
Oh man, do we have to go
you
there?
gotta go there. Gotta go there.
Dude, I turned 42 this year.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You're right. You're not quite as old as Steve.
Yeah. So that's why you hang out with older people. It makes you feel younger. Like, if I hang out with someone at 60, he's like, oh, you're a young buck. I'm like, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with James Grage, co-founder of BPI. 1 second. All right, we're back. TigerFitness podcast with BPI co-founder James Grage, Steve Shaw.
Your favorite homie.
Your favorite homie. For those of you on the podcast, he had his hat cocked sideways.
Yeah.
Which made him extremely gangster.
Do I have street cred now, guys?
Totally.
Yeah, I'm down.
Overwhelming.
Word to your mother.
I'm down with your hood, Steve.
Yes.
So James, there's a lot. I mean, we've got car crashes. Started one of the largest companies in the industry. What is your most embarrassing masturbation story? That's what the people really want to know.
We want to know your most.
Well, that was when you started masturbating in front of me. That totally embarrassed me.
It was just today. I mean, we all like it. Your mom walked
When we
in.
were in the break room, I was eating my chicken.
Well, you looked like you needed some
You're
sauce.
choking your chicken. Yeah. He was using hot sauce.
Oh, I like
hot
the pain.
sauce. Doesn't that sting a little
Pleasure
bit?
and pain, man.
It was like, you know, he couldn't find any lube. He went right for the mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise and hot
Mayonnaise
sauce.
is always
You
available.
know,
at
if you
TigerFitness.
put mayonnaise and hot sauce on your penis, I might actually join you.
That's kind of creepy.
It sounds kind of.
Actually,
you give me some chicken nuggets, and we might have.
I actually know someone who had the college nickname Mayo because he was with a girl. Yeah, he was in, I think he was in a frat house, but couldn't find any lube, and so he just went in the kitchen and grabbed some mayo. She didn't know. Actually, maybe her nickname ended up Mayo.
So did she get did he go in there with it?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that could give her a UTI, man. That urinary tract infection.
Yeah, or you could make a sandwich.
Tuna sandwich.
Ah!
Thank you very much.
I mean, it's really weird that we talk about masturbation and we're not talking about eating butt. That's like the new hot thing. It's in hip hop songs. It used to be
Is it?
taboo.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you've always been known for your affection with eating butt.
My own butt.
Yeah, you're a flexible man.
Yeah, I've been working on
seen
my
that.
flexibility. I haven't quite gotten there, but it's a lifelong pursuit. You know, you just got to be diligent.
That just shows you how things have kind of come full circle. Like, it used to be back in the day, it was taboo. That was weird, right? Now I'm listening to Nicki Minaj talking about eating ass like groceries. And I mean, what kind of groceries are they? Like, if I'm buying like a potted plant, generally I don't eat those.
Man, I've tried that once, but that was a long time ago.
Eating
Eating
potted
ass from
plant?
potted plants.
Eating ass. And you know, no matter how clean a butt is, it's still a butt. That's all.
You know, here's my theory on it. I'm just gonna be real here. Like, God was in a hurry when he created woman, because like the vagina and the butthole are only this far apart.
They're not even that far apart.
No, it's like you could do the shocker, for goodness sakes. So at the end of the day, there's gonna be cross contamination. I always say, why not go straight to the source? I'm gonna admit, I'll eat booty. It's like a delicacy in certain countries.
Like a delicacy, but like 100 years.
I mean, I'm just saying.
What country is that? I'm just curious.
Mongolia?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even a fucking
If a butthole had a second clitoris, I might give it a try. But
It's actually been shown.
There's like
that
little nubs there, though.
Well, let me tell you about the butthole.
said
Those
no.
are called hemorrhoids, James.
I was gonna say
That's your butt.
that's a hemorrhoid.
Oh, I powerlifted. There's plenty of shit coming out of there. Well,
Didn't you shit your guts out?
No.
No,
here's-
when you were young.
Okay, no. Here's this. When I was
I thought
19,
That's
yeah,
how
Weider.
that's what happened to his abs. If you check YouTube or
You know,
I thought this was an early Weider story.
This is when I was 19 years old. I was at Weider. I was actually 20. I was competing in a powerlifting competition. It was an APF, sanctioned at the time by the LA Lifting Club, APF show. And so I did my first lift. You know, it's a squat, bench, deadlift. They always have. Squat, I got it. I went for like 670 or some stupid weight like that. I think it was like, and I got it, but I felt like something pulling my ass, right? Whatever, so I did the bench press, competed in that, did the deadlift. So my wife was actually living at Cal State Northridge at the time. She was on campus. It was right down the road. The competition was in Burbank.
and this is where the story gets interesting.
And
This is
so
where it all goes bad.
in the middle of the night, it's 1 a.m. and my ass is hurting. I couldn't look at I was like 200, so I couldn't look at my ass. I couldn't see my anus, even in a mirror. So I'm like, you gotta look at my ass. At that time, we weren't engaged, we weren't married, so.
That's love.
And she's
gotta
like,
look
cool.
at my ass.
So she looks at it, she's like, you got like a softball coming out of your ass. I'm like, what the fuck? So we go to the emergency room, right? And like 5 hours later, like 10 drive-bys that night at Northridge Hospital. And the doctor goes, we gotta operate right away. You have an infected hemorrhoid. And basically, it all came out.
You know what? You know
Fucking
what?
gross.
Yeah, so they had to shove it back in,
As
essentially.
a power lifter, I'm converting to bodybuilding right now.
And so,
That's why I don't do heavy deadlifts.
you know, but it wasn't like everybody says, well, it was worth it, you got the weight. No, if you have a scalpel cutting through your butt, that's when you realize lifting is not fun. That's when you just give up lifting in general. So I actually asked you a masturbation story, I ended up talking about my butt problems. You know, that's why I would never let a girl go down there. I just know what's been there before, like a doctor spreading my cheeks and cutting it open.
So you asked me most embarrassing. Honestly, there's no embarrassing because it's not embarrassing. Like, fuck it, everybody, dude. I mean,
Everybody's done it.
Yeah, it's like. So I'm trying to think of maybe the most awkward.
Did like your mom walk in or none of those?
No, I don't think so.
So were you like we came from similar generations, all of us. I'm the youngest one here for once. Like back in the day, like when you didn't have porn, I'd resort to like the Sears catalog.
You know what I
Oh, no,
love?
there was always the whatchamacallit, Victoria's Secret catalog that came in the mail.
I don't think my mom was in the lingerie. I didn't get that magazine. I had to go with J.C. Penney.
JCPenney's like the bra section.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like those pages were always stuck together.
My dad always had like a Playboy like stashed under the cushion of the sofa. So
Yeah.
When we first got cable, you get that HBO guide every week.
Yes.
I'd be flipping through there trying to find R-rated movies because they had nudity listed on them. So I'd be up like watching the entire movie just to see a titty.
just
And
to
then
see
it was
titty.
game on. Yeah. You watch the entire awful movie just to see a titty. You're like, this is heaven. I got titties on my TV. Welcome to modern life.
Modern life. Speaking of modern life, I want to segue here because there's something on everybody's mind. And honestly, like the thing about podcasts, look, people be like, "Oh, well, it's a fitness." Look, this is more than fitness. This is a podcast.
No, this doesn't seem fitness.
No,
at all.
this is this lifestyle.
I don't think we've even really talked about anything fitness.
We will get into that, but here's the thing. Like the election coming up, there's business. Now, I want to talk to you from a business standpoint. Okay. Now you look
We're
at.
talking politics.
I'm talking politics.
God.
Or business.
Or business. But here's the thing, like what scares me about Trump, and it's not gonna be what everybody else is scared of, is that when he does like that whole Make America Great Again, he increases tariffs. A lot of what we make, James, like even gym bags or things like that, a lot of textiles and different promotional items and even different things we make come from China. How do you think if Trump gets elected, it will affect our business working on an international global scale? Have you looked into that?
You know, look, you know, actually even taking a step back from that, I mean, I look at Trump, it's hard for me, honestly, to take him serious running right now. I still feel like there's some sort of angle behind it.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's, you know, for him to get behind some other candidate, it's just hard for me to picture him wanting to move out of his luxury penthouse in New York where he's comfortable, living the life that he wants to live, moving to Washington, D.C., and be responsible for running the country. It's just hard for me to picture. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, that's just for starters. So it's hard for me to take anything
But he looks to be the nominee.
He loves that. I mean, look, this is if nothing else,
Hillary can't stop coughing. So.
Yeah.
And she's also, she might, see, I have actually a theory on what's going to happen. I think they're holding back her indictment because let's be real, she did commit a pretty bad crime with those emails. If we did it, we'd be in jail right now. But here's the thing, I predict, and I could be wrong, I'm probably wrong, the DNC is actually holding back her indictment. And they're going to release it the week before the convention, slide Biden right in there as the nominee.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I know that, I kind of have like my own personal opinion, call it what you want when it comes to an election. I look at elections as like the ultimate census, right? It's the opportunity to get a read on what America thinks. How do they feel about different topics? And so when you get someone in there like Trump, who's really, has this like extreme position on a lot of things, you get a good read on how people feel, or at least a percentage of the population, how they feel. And so, look, we live in a data-driven society, right? Everything's about data. And at the end of the day, look, not to be all like, conspiracy theory on people, but at the end of the day, when you know more about people, it's easier to, keep order, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so I look at someone like Trump who comes out and says all these crazy, outlandish things. It's like they're almost measuring people's reactions to it.
That's one way to look at it. I mean, he does say some really extreme things. He does. But I think what we're also seeing is people are fed up with politicians. I think, look at Sanders and his rise. Dude, he's the anti-politician politician. He's been calling people out in the Senate floor for a while now.
It's just crazy. I mean, I look at the president of this country, and I don't see him really as a president. I see him as a figurehead. You look at someone, say what you want, but you take someone like Putin. Now that's a president because the buck stops with him. He has ultimate say.
And he wrestles bears. Not Steve, but really bears.
He's a scary guy because, the guy is obviously very bright. He has a lot of control, too much control, and that's scary. And so you pit someone like Trump against Putin, that's scary.
Putin's a friggin' spy. I mean, he's a friggin' trained assassin.
So I look at, someone like Donald Trump. I don't see Donald Trump even as a business person. I see Donald Trump as a celebrity. He's a TV personality. That's his business, is entertainment, and he's good at it. He's great at marketing. It's just I don't see him the way he positions himself, which is a business person.
Steve, do you have any opinion on it?
Well, I really don't have any. My only opinion is, look, no matter who we elect, he's going to have to deal with Congress. So you're looking at a guy who the American people are going to, seemingly get behind and elect, and a lot of people are panicking. When it comes to me, I'm old AF. It's just going to be more of the same for me. More of the same. I don't really pay much attention. I don't really care much. There's certain issues I'd like to see improved in this country, and I'll vote that way. But
certain things you start to care about when your health care costs as a business go up 48% because of Obamacare. There are certain things that will hurt all of us. For example, if we got rid of Obamacare, or let's say we were to have what Cruz's tax plan would be, your paycheck would immediately go up 14%, and so would everybody else's here. So those are things you need to look at.
It's you can always compare it to different countries. You look at countries in Europe, where you've got, people paying 70% in taxes.
Yeah.
It really all just comes down to, look, everyone in this country has, something, different is important to them.
Yeah.
And, so for a big percentage of the population, having access to good health care is important. But then it comes down to designing a system that's actually effective, that really does work and serves that purpose. As much as, everyone gets a little freaked out over, say Obama and with his, policies that are very, socialistic, let's call them. At the end of the day, we're still a socialistic society. I believe in taking care of people when they need, a helping hand. When someone's down, look, I've been in that situation, really, like, my dick knocked in the dirt, right? And I had people that helped me, get back on my feet, and I believe in that. I just don't believe in our system that doesn't incentivize people to get back on their feet. That's the problem. It's like, we help them and then we incentivize them to stay in the situation that they're in. And
it's a good way to put it.
So look, this country, what makes it special and what made, America is, that freedom to be able to go out there and pursue opportunities, create an opportunity for yourself. And that's what, you know, the people who founded this country were all about. And so to see that kind of, you know, that American dream disappearing, like young kids now don't even believe in the American dream, and that saddens me.
Well, it's hard when the American dream, when 94% of businesses fail, you have a corporate tax rate at up to 50%.
But I will say though, we've never been in a better age for the personal entrepreneur. Like
that
you
I
can
agree
wake
with.
up, start a blog, start a YouTube channel,
I agree.
and you know it's still out there.
Look, I'll say that, and I see it all
And
the
don't
time.
forget Gay for Pay.
I know nothing about that.
I see it all the time in our industry. I see a lot of, you know, companies springing up. You can create an opportunity for yourself. That's the beauty of social media, of the internet. You know, you can be in the middle of nowhere and start a business for yourself, and that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So that opportunity still exists for those that want to pursue it, and for that, this country is still special, and you know, the American dream is still there, but we have to continue to cultivate that.
Absolutely. Oh, I agree. I just thought it'd be interesting. It's because when I saw you at Body Power. We did our little seminars there, and the most frequently asked question was, "Who are you voting for?" And that's in the UK. When was the last time you asked someone, "Who are you voting for?" in the UK?
Well, that's because it's a big clown show right now to the rest of the world. They're laughing at us, and that's you know, that saddens me too. That we're, you know, some sort of joke right now.
That's where you just nuke them. You know, we're still America.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna just blow you up. But yeah, movie, like getting into that, you talk about healthcare and the costs. Now, you obviously have reinvented your life. You're into fitness. You train. You're an active CEO, family man, all that good stuff, right?
Right.
Okay. So you fit in all this training. Now, how do you find you fit training into your schedule? Do you make it a priority? You train first thing in the morning?
You have to. I mean, look, it has to be a priority to you. You know, look, if you want something bad enough, you'll figure out a way to fit it in. It's like, you know, here's a really obscure example, but you look at things like, you know, say people that smoke cigarettes, right? They raise the cost of cigarettes, they put all these taxes on it. I mean, to smoke is really expensive, and a lot of people don't have money, but if they want to smoke, guess what? They find the money, and they'll buy the pack of
You're
cigarettes.
absolutely correct.
So if it's important enough to you, and that's what I always say, if something is important enough to you, you will find a way. You just have to make it important. You have to make it a priority.
Yeah.
So for me, I have to be very selective with my priorities. So obviously, you know, business is a priority. My kids are a priority. My wife is a priority. My fitness is a priority. And yes, some things just don't fit in. So
Now, let me ask you a question along those lines. And I know where this is going, but this is a perfect example. Mark, how many hours a week of TV do you watch?
that's where I was going
Probably 45 minutes all week max.
How about you?
Usually soccer games.
If that, and it's only because, you know, my wife has certain shows that she likes, and so I'll sit down with her because it's just kind of like her time. Like, she likes Walking Dead on Sundays. That's kind of her ritual. She likes her glass of wine, and so I'll sit down with her. But I don't like TV because
so a couple hours. Yeah.
Less. And you know why? To me, most people watch TV to pass time. I don't have any time to pass. Every minute of every day is filled with something.
I don't even have a
quite
team.
I mean, the thing is, like, you look at that CEO mindset, we're always moving forward and looking for other things to do. You know, like, hey, like Chad and myself, like, what about clothing? You know what I mean? Like, you're always looking for that next step. So I don't think we want that, mindless moment. Just sitting back, watching just mindless entertainment.
You know, look, you always have to
Your
be.
mind's too active too. I mean, you're always thinking of the next step of what you got to do.
The TV's on my computer. Like, people always
And
ask
now with these, I mean, you got people blowing up your phone with Twitter questions and.
Well, I think that's actually the phone's a better example even than TV. It used to be that people pass time with TV. Now you don't see people spend as much time on traditional TV as they used to. Now it's their phones. And I mean, look, we all fall victim to it. It's like, first you check your email, and then you check your text messages, then you check your Instagram, and then your Facebook, and then when you run out of those, you go back to the beginning, and then pretty soon you're just looking at nothingness because you're like sucked into this vortex of your phone. And so you have to create rules for yourself. You have to have discipline. And, you know, that's all fitness is, really. It's, you know, it's like creating discipline. So for me, it's like I just set my phone down at certain times. Like, I have a rule. I never walk in the front door of my house on my phone. Why? Because then I'll miss that moment where my kids come running and give me a hug. The minute that I give them, like, the Heisman, right? Like I'm on the phone. That's when they stop coming to greet me at the door, and then I'm the one who misses out on that, and my kids miss out. So
It's extremely true.
So you kind of have to create rules for yourself. You know, it's like that's how I'm with most things. So because I'm into fitness, does that mean that I never have a drink? No, I just kind of have rules for myself. You know, I reserve that usually for like a Friday night or a Saturday night. It's, you know, trying to create structure for yourself, and that's what fitness did for me because I didn't have a lot of structure when I was young. I think that was probably my biggest weakness, why I didn't get things done in my life, why I didn't accomplish the goals that I wanted to accomplish. And so through working out, that's where I learned it. It's kind of like a set of skills or tools that you learn, and that's what I took into business, used those exact same skills, applied them to business, and, you know, found success the same way.
What we're talking about, I mean, a lot of people come to us for questions, you know. How do I stick to a diet? How do I lose fat? How do I do this? How do I do that? And the bottom line in business or in lifting or whatever is you have to sell out to a new lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change. You're like, I don't give up TV to be some, you know, anti-TV Nazi or, you know, anti-TV evangelist. It's a lifestyle. This is part of the lifestyle. This is what it takes to get where I'm going, to stay healthy, to grow a business. And it's just all part of.
Look, it just requires a lot. Let's face it, it's not easy. And I hate the word fitness lifestyle because it's so used and abused now. It's like every social media post is like, you know, the fitness lifestyle.
Is it me or does everybody have to post something so fucking crappily, just cornily inspirational? It's like a picture of a chicken breast. Look at the chicken.
But I think
it has power. It has strength.
See, I think that's just their perception of it. It's like, you know, it's sometimes that's why I talk about like talking about it too much. Sometimes it's just less talking and more doing.
We become like fucking vegans. We have to tell everybody we lift.
But like anytime, I always say this. We just did a One of Marc commercial on it, which, you know, I kind of wrote this little script and we just blasted it out one day. And that was kind of the whole premise behind it is anytime that you have to say that you are something, chances are you probably aren't. So if you run around saying that I'm, you know, this fitness lifestyle, you shouldn't have to say it. People should be able to take one look at you and know it because you live it.
Yeah, that's our culture. People define themselves like, I am this, I am that, I am that. People spend so much time telling you what they are and not a lot of time showing you what
they are. Well, CrossFitters have to say it because they don't look like they lift.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't want to be defined by something that I do. Like, even when I was bodybuilding, I never walked around and said, hey, I'm a bodybuilder.
You did carry around a Tupperware bag, and you also had a gallon jug.
I never did a gallon jug.
No, I refuse to do it.
I never did a gallon jug.
I have one that says 5% on it.
I never did a gallon jug.
And he sells it for fucking $10 for a jug.
But I'll say this, people now have it a lot easier, you know, with all these new bags, the fitness bags, you know, the 6-pack fitness bags. Now it's a lot easier. We used to literally tote around a freaking ice chest.
I got you. Walmart ice chest.
Yeah, that shit didn't look cool.
It said Igloo on it.
It did not look cool.
I don't think it looks cool now. I call them 6-pack douchebags. You know, I just think that
some of the new ones, like the backpacks, you know, they're pretty like low-key.
When's the last time you've gone out and eaten 6 meals? Do I really need room for 6 meals?
You know what? I will say this now. I don't eat out of Tupperware anymore. I used to because I thought that was the only way to do it. I don't now.
I
used to take Tupperware to Thanksgiving dinners. That's how bad I had it.
You're awesome.
Yeah.
You're my hero.
Look, you know, I mean, but I'm not competing either, so it doesn't need to be that extreme. I eat 3 real meals. I eat, you know, I eat breakfast, I eat lunch, and I eat dinner, and then in between, you know, a lot of times it's shakes. Like, people ask me about shakes. Do you need to have protein shakes? I'm like, no, you don't need to. But if I'm getting, you know, anywhere from, let's say, 350 to 360 grams of protein a day, that's a lot of chicken breasts and a lot of egg whites.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't do it. I can't do it. So to me, do I need it? No, it's convenience. It's easy, and it breaks up the monotony, and a shake, to me, tastes a whole lot better than, you know, more egg whites and more chicken breasts. So, but I supplement in between my meals with protein shakes. They're, you know, to me, kind of essential for the way I live because, yeah, I don't want to carry around Tupperware anymore. Do I do it? Yeah, it depends on the situation. Like when you flew to Melbourne, just like I did, you know, I had to fly 6 hours to California first, and then from California to Melbourne was 16 hours.
Yep.
Did I want to eat airplane food the whole time? No. Did I want to eat, you know, 15 protein bars on the way? No. So did I pack some stuff? Yeah, of course I did.
Bathrooms aren't big enough for that many protein bars, man. I made it work. I fit. But so we're into protein shakes. Yeah. Good time to bring up. So tell me more about this Chromadex thing with your whey.
So look, it really started as something that was really simple. even when I was, before BPI, when I was buying supplements for myself, I was always like a little bit leery about what I was buying. You know, I just had no way of knowing if what I was buying was what I was paying for. And, you know, you'd always hear about things about, you know, well, this brand's not quality and that brand's not quality. And then as this protein spiking issue started to grow, I'm like, this is terrible, you know? Like, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a consumer. I'm like, this sucks for the whole industry, because now I'm going to be really skeptical of every product out there.
Yeah.
And how do I know? And everybody says, no, ours is the best. Ours is the best. It's like saying ours tastes the best. Well, when everybody says theirs tastes the best, you know, who do you believe?
Yeah.
Well, of course everyone's going to say theirs is the best. And so I felt that there had to be something, some way of us showing objectively that ours meets a quality standard. And so we decided that, you know, if we were going to do this, that, you know, I looked at all the different testing programs out there, and I just didn't feel that they were effective for what we wanted, because we wanted something more comprehensive that tested it at the ingredient level, you know, from raw material to the manufacturing level, all the way to the finished product. And so we went to the best, which was Chromadex. You know, they're a third-party analytics laboratory, very, very well respected in the industry. And
I use them for our test. I use them all the time.
they're great. I mean, they're one of the best at what they do. And so they had been wanting to do a program for a long time. The problem is that most people just didn't want to spend the money that it took to put together a program like that. It is very expensive, because you got to look at how much hands-on time it takes to do all that, to test the ingredients, to test the manufacturing, to go in, you know, at every level. So it was an expensive program, but I felt that it was really worth it. It's something that I'm really, you know, proud of. And so it gives the consumer basically a way to just look at the bottle and, you know, say, oh, okay, cool, I see it on there. Well, this is a super old bottle. It doesn't even have the seal on there, but thanks, Marc.
Let's just imagine there's a seal on there. Well, the bottle with the seal on there will be in tomorrow.
You know what's cool about it is we honestly, even before Chromadex, we're already having our stuff tested, just like you guys have your stuff tested. And I feel that that's a responsibility of brands.
I think it's a great move.
Here's the problem, and I'll tell you guys this, and you know this already. A lot of the brands out there, I don't think set out to deceive the consumer. Some do. But some don't. I think that what ends up happening is they just don't do their due diligence to make sure that their products meet a certain standard. And so they order ingredients, or they have it manufactured and they never have it tested. And so they put out product that doesn't meet, you know, spec, and they don't even know. And so, but at the end of the day, the consumer's not going to hold the manufacturer, the raw material supplier accountable. They're going to hold you as a brand accountable, because that's your commitment to them. So that's all it is I feel like people spend their hard-earned money on supplements, and it is hard-earned money. The products aren't cheap.
No.
They're not cheap, and so people are spending their money on it, and I just want to make sure that they're getting their money's worth. Kind of that simple.
That's awesome. Well, with that note, we will segue, and we're going to take a little break. So once again, James Grage, BPI Co-Founder, Steve Shaw, Marc Lobliner. We'll see you in a second. We're back. James Grage, Co-Founder BPI Sports, alongside. That's a nice bicep.
Still got something. Something.
Not bad for an old guy. Not bad. And of course, Steve Shaw, Editorial Director, TigerFitness Podcast. Anyway, just segueing into what is next? What's coming up? What's new with BPI?
Well, like I said, just, you know, continuing to you know, stretch ourselves and expand as the fitness industry expands. I mean, look, fitness is bigger than it's ever been before. You got more and more people that are coming into it. So just trying to reach this bigger, you know, ever-growing audience. New product innovation. We've got our best protein bar that we just launched here recently. That's really big. Awesome. That's an exciting step for us. We put a year's worth of R&D into that.
And that's some awesome SEO, by the way. Best protein
bar, you like
go.
that?
Yeah.
So
Steve lives by SEO.
Yeah. So
Search
that was
engine optimization.
Which, you know, also puts a lot of pressure on us to come up with a bar that really is awesome. When you name it best, it better be the best. So we felt really good about that. That's exciting. Tastes awesome. We're launching. We launched with 4 flavors. We've got new flavors coming on the heels of that. So that's exciting for us. New flavors of proteins coming out. We just launched just now. Well, actually, it's hitting really at the end of the month. So we've got the 1MR Vortex, which really kind of was this lineage of 1MR. Well, we finally, through the years, we just continued to develop new technology with pre-workouts, and we finally came out with this formula that we're like, holy crap, that's strong. We're like, what do we do with it now? Like, this is worthy of that original 1MR name. So now 1MR Vortex is going back to like the old style logo, and it's just 1MR. And that's for that hardcore stimulant junkie. It's not for everybody. It's not, honestly, it's not my cup of tea. I take a half a scoop and it's just like, it's too much. That's more your speed.
Hey, I've slowed down with age, man.
It's strong, so it's not for everybody, but for those like hardcore stim junkies that want something that's just gonna like knock them into the best workout of their life, we've got that. So that's gonna be available at the end of the month. We're relaunching one of our most popular fat burners ever. Actually, it was our most popular ever. I'm not going to tell you which one that is yet, but
I can guess. I have numbers.
Yeah. So, and we went back to the original formula, the formula that everybody loved. We got rid of it only because we were always continuing to innovate, come out with new things, and just due to popular demand, people always asking about it. We're like, you know what? We'll bring it back.
That's awesome.
So that's coming down the pipeline. Just always new innovation. Just continue to come out with new great products. So that's kind of what we have going on. Been signing, some new athletes. We got this guy, Regan Grimes. He's out of Canada, Toronto. He turned pro at the Arnold in Brazil. The dude's like, he's got this freaky physique because he kind of looks like, he's got like the physique, guy look, but bigger. Like he just got a super small waist, big shoulders.
That's awesome.
So he's kind of like, I think, that new generation of bodybuilder. I think the guy's going to make a big impact. Super nice guy, down to earth. He really represents our values as a brand, and that's where we're at. We want anyone that we associate ourselves with to share our values. They have to kind of be, think the way we think. And we've got a lot of, some different people, that lifestyle bloggers that, same thing. But they cover a different niche, because we're not just bodybuilders, although that's where we started. It's going more into, to fitness and health and fitness. And so expanding into those different categories while maintaining our DNA, which is we're still like, a serious sports nutrition company.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you coming in. Anything you want to add to this, Steve? Anything?
We have a program we're going to be putting together with James called Rebuilt.
Yep.
You heard his story. We're going to be putting together a workout training system that you can see on TigerFitness content site. James, can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is, it's technically a 10-week trainer, although you're not limited to doing it for 10 weeks, but it's still kind of based on like a traditional bodybuilding split. It's a 5-day split. So at a glance on the surface, it might look like a lot of programs you've seen, but it's completely different.
Dude,
I think Marc would attest to that.
We've already started filming it, and we're about to film some more of it. But I'll tell you what, it is different than anything I've ever done in the whole structure of it and the intricacies of everything that goes on in it. You're going to really like this. And I think that 90%, 100% of the people who watch this will be able to either do the program in its entirety or take something from it to make their current program even better.
Yeah, it's one style of training. It's the way that I like to train. A lot of it did stem from learning how to train around injuries. So in other words, I couldn't do what I used to do. I couldn't, just throw a big heavy bar on my back and do a bunch of huge compound movements and hope for the best. So really over time, learned how to really target specific muscles. And that's what I want to share with you guys is, not just how to do an exercise, but why that exercise works to target that specific muscle. In other words, to put muscle exactly where you want to put muscle. So this is, to build muscle, but it's also kind of like what I like to, define as like a sculpting program, which sculpting sounds like cutting. It's not. It's just, like I said, learning how to put muscle where you want to, developing weak areas. If you got, weak rear delts or weak chest, figuring out how to overcome those weaknesses and bring up those and, balance out your strengths and weaknesses.
That's it, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back next week for podcast number 2.
Number 2.
Number
twice
2.
as many.
Well,
Twice as much.
I appreciate you guys including me on your first ever.
This is the cherry popper. This will be the one where it all started.
Yep. This is the one where we're trying to figure out what the heck we're doing.
And I think
we did a good job.
I think we did. So
well, it
guys,
was my first ever. I've never done a podcast, so this is cool for me.
Exactly. So guys, again, buy all your supplements from TigerFitness.com. BPI Sports will be linked down below if you're watching the YouTube podcast, if you're just watching the podcast in general or listening to it. Go to Tiger Fitness, search out BPI as a brand, and buy all their shit because we got bills to pay. All right, guys, thanks for watching. That's not a game.